I'm one of the people who lost a daughter in 1987, stillborn, and it's one of those things that I think it's best to say it never leaves you, it never really goes away. Obviously you move on with your life and life moves on, but it's never not there. So some days you remember more than others, but you never really forget. She would have been our first daughter, so obviously you have all the excitement and the buzz of the coming daughter, and you do what everybody does. You create the nursery, you buy the teddy bears, and you do all the bits, and then it's catastrophe. It's total disaster. Everything that you visioned or visualised for the future suddenly isn't there anymore. You go through a multitude of emotions when it happens. There's disbelief initially, I'd say, anger, and then you start questioning yourself, and you start sort of asking yourself, well, what did I do wrong? Was there anything else I could have done? Is there anything I should have done? Is there anything I shouldn't have done? And of course the answer is no, but you find yourself trying to understand why that happened to you. So one of the things that's most shocking is the way people react. People that you would have considered close friends, just they cross the road. And I don't think it's that they're being cruel. I don't think that for a minute. They don't know what to say, and they're so terrified of saying the wrong thing and upsetting you more, that actually they withdraw and they say nothing, which is just 100 times worse. But you learn a lot of things very quickly. The first thing you learn is actually there are lots of people who've suffered the same fate. And you don't necessarily know that until you're one of them, because nobody talks about it until they know that you have had the same experience. It's almost a taboo subject, and it shouldn't be. It's far more common than we think it is. And the other thing, I suppose, from my point of view, being the man, of course the man we just have to do the strong bit. It's an absolute tragedy for the woman concerned, and it was for my wife at the time. It was an absolute tragedy, no question. And as many people said afterwards, well, your wife lost her child, but actually so did I. And that's perhaps not quite as recognised as it should be, that yes, it's an absolute tragedy for the woman concerned, but it's also a tragedy for the man too. We're not allowed to cry, or we weren't then, certainly back in those days. We have to be the strong one, we have to sort of carry on, and we have to tell the wife and everybody else that it's all going to be all right, it's all going to be okay. But actually at the time we're not really sure that it will be. If you know somebody who's experienced this, don't be afraid to speak to them. From my part, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I would just have liked people to come up and have the same conversations with me that they always had, but they didn't. A lot of them didn't feel they could, and that went on for quite a while. There were a few who were able to come and talk, and one or two of them did say the wrong thing, but you know, it's actually better if they say the wrong thing than nothing. But I'm really pleased that they do something like this, and actually if you go to the seafront and you look at the ribbons on the fence, I was there last year, you'll be absolutely staggered at the amount, the number of ribbons involved. This is not as rare a thing as people think. It just isn't talked about enough. And you know, I hope people will use the charities and the support that's available to them. It was less available to us. In hindsight, I think we could have benefited from that. Yes, it has to be a good thing that they're there. They won't work for everyone, nothing does. And those they won't work for may choose not to use them after a while. But it will work for a number of people, probably a large number of people, and they will be helpful. So I would say, yeah, get support, because they're tough times and you'll need it.